For about 500 years, this single image has been one of our history's biggest, well, cold cases. I mean, look at it. It's this complex web of symbols that has just baffled scholars, historians, you name it. It's a total masterpiece, no doubt. But the real question is, what is it actually trying to tell us?
Well, the traditional story goes something like this. It's a portrait of genius that's been brought to its knees. You see the winged figure there, right? Surrounded by all these tools of science and art, but they're paralyzed, stuck, total creative block, trapped in this deep, deep melancholy.
But what if that's not the story at all? What if this isn't some admission of defeat, but actually a hidden manifesto, a secret message about a whole new age of discovery? Okay, let's peel back the layers and see what we can find.
All right, so here it is. This is Albrecht Dürer's 1514 engraving, Melencolia I. And for centuries, the accepted story has been that it's basically a spiritual self-portrait. You know, the artist himself wrestling with the huge, overwhelming limits of human knowledge when faced with the divine.
And the key to this whole traditional theory? It really comes down to that single Roman numeral I in the title. For a long, long time, everyone thought it was pointing to the first and lowest of 3 levels of genius. This idea came from an occult philosopher named Agrippa. He called it Melancholia Imaginativa, which basically means artists are trapped by what they can see and touch, their physical senses. They just can't reach that higher divine truth. So that I was seen as a mark of failure, a symbol of limitation.
But then, a totally unexpected detective shows up on the scene. And I mean unexpected, a theoretical physicist named David Finkelstein. And he didn't look at this 500-year-old artwork like an art historian. Nope, he looked at it like a code breaker.
And Finkelstein asked this really radical question. He knew that back in Dürer's day, in legal and philosophical texts, that Roman numeral I wasn't always used for level 1. A lot of the time, it was used to mark the first section of an argument, like chapter 1. So he thought, what if Dürer wasn't labeling a mood? What if he was titling a chapter? And just like that, this one little shift in perspective, it changes everything. The old theory? It sees that I as a prison cell. But Finkelstein's clue, it reframes it as a doorway. It's not level 1 of despair, it's section 1 of some grand argument. It's not a dead end, it's a beginning.
So Finkelstein was totally convinced. If that I is just a section marker, then the title itself, Melancholia, that has to be the thesis statement for Dürer's secret argument, and he was sure that Dürer had hidden the key to unlock it all right there in plain sight. So, okay, let's look at the title. You can see it up there, carried by that bat-like creature in the sky. Melancholia I. On the surface, it seems pretty straightforward. But you have to remember, Dürer was an absolute master of puzzles and wordplay.
Finkelstein started playing with the letters and realized this wasn't just a label for a mood. It wasn't a diagnosis at all. It was an anagram. And you know what? He found it. The letters in Melancolia can be rearranged to spell LIMEN CAELO. And that Latin phrase, it completely flips the meaning on its head. It means gateway to heaven or threshold of the sky. So we're not talking about the darkness of melancholy anymore. We're talking about a gateway. The title isn't a diagnosis of despair. It's a bold proclamation of ambition.
Okay, so an anagram is one thing, right? It could be a coincidence. But Dürer didn't stop there. He left more proof. He actually embedded his own signature directly into the print to prove he was the author of this code. And he hid it inside that famous magic square you see on the wall.
Take a close look at the bottom row of that square. See the 2 middle numbers? You've got 15 and 14. Put them together, and what do you get? 1514, the exact year Dürer made this engraving. I mean, how cool is that? He literally wove the date of his creation right into this matrix of cosmic order. All right, but he wasn't done. Now look at the 2 numbers on the outside of that same row. You've got a 4 and a 1. So, what's the 4th letter of the alphabet? D. And the first? A. Put them together? D, A. Wait, flip them. A, D. Albrecht Dürer. He signed his initials right next to the date, inside the code itself. This is way more than just a clever puzzle. It's a signed confession. So let's just step back and put this all together, right? The traditional reading sees a label for a psychological state, level 1 melancholy. But this new hypothesis, it sees a thesis statement. The I becomes section 1, and melancholia is just a cover for LIMEN CAELO, the gateway to heaven.
Okay, but this brings up a huge question. Why? Why go to all this trouble? Why create such a complex, layered code? Well, it's because Dürer was proposing something that, back in the early 1500s, was seriously dangerous. It was deeply heretical.
You have to understand, at the time, the way people thought about knowledge was super rigid. It was like a pyramid. At the very top, you had theology, studying God through Scripture. That was the queen of the sciences. Below that, maybe some abstract math. And way down at the bottom, you had natural philosophy. That was the study of the messy, physical, corruptible world.
And Dürer's secret message? It completely flipped that pyramid upside down. He was arguing that the true gateway to heaven, that LIMEN CAELO, it wasn't abstract theology, it was natural philosophy. He believed that the careful, intense observation of the physical world around us, God's own creation, that was the true foundation. That was section 1 of all knowledge.
And once you have this key, once you know about the gateway to heaven code, the entire engraving just transforms right before your eyes. Seriously, every single symbol suddenly clicks into place with a brand new and honestly much more powerful meaning.
So think about it. The angel's gaze, it's not despair anymore. It's the intense, focused observation of a scientist. The tools scattered on the ground, they're not abandoned. They are the instruments for a new genesis, ready to build something new. And that weird polyhedron, it's not some useless, strange rock. It's the raw material of intellect, teaching us that perception is relative. And the figure herself, she's not paralyzed. She's poised right at a threshold, the very LIMEN CAELO she has just revealed to us.
All of a sudden, this print isn't a portrait of defeat at all. It's an invitation. It's chapter 1, section 1 of a whole new way of thinking, a world where the careful study of the world around us becomes the true path to understanding the divine. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Dürer's masterpiece was basically a manifesto for a scientific revolution, and it was just hiding in plain sight for 5 centuries. It leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. What other secrets, what other profound truths are hiding right in front of us, just waiting for someone to come along with a new way of seeing?